Hi, I'm Pam Salazar, and I'm here at Research Triangle Institute in North Carolina, also known as RTI. You've received this video since you expressed interest in an interviewer position on the National Household Survey on Drug Abuse, or NHSDA. To assist you in the decision process of whether or not a field interviewer or FI job is right for you, we've developed this video to introduce you to many aspects of both the NHSDA and the interviewing position. Your increased awareness about this important project and RTI's expectations and requirements should improve your upcoming discussions and interviews as you and RTI together decide about your future work on the NHSDA. First, here is a guided tour around the campus of RTI. Research Triangle Institute is an independent nonprofit organization performing research in many disciplines for government, industry, and other clients throughout the United States and abroad. RTI conducts research that responds to priorities in medicine and pharmaceuticals, public health, advanced technologies, environmental protection, and public policies. RTI was incorporated at the end of 1958 by joint action of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, Duke University in Durham, and North Carolina State University in Raleigh. RTI is a separately operated affiliate of the three schools with its own staff and facilities. As you can see, there are many research units within RTI, including one devoted to conducting survey research called Statistics, Health, and Social Policy. Within this unit are many divisions which all work together on the various projects. RTI has been in the survey research business for 40 years, and for the past 10 years, one of RTI's major projects has been the NHSDA. RTI is under contract to the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, SAMHSA, a division of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, to conduct the National Household Survey on Drug Abuse. Let's look a little more closely at the NHSDA study itself, with a video introduction prepared for interviewers trained on a recent NHSDA project. National means that the project applies to the entire United States. A truly national study could try to ask questions of each and every person in the U.S. to find out what each person does and thinks. This, of course, would be very expensive and time-consuming. And with the use of statistics, all that work is unnecessary. The statisticians at RTI can choose different areas around the country that actually encompass all the types of persons that live in our country. So we just contact a selected number of persons in the study areas, ask them the questions, and apply statistical formulas to the answers. The results represent the same information we would have if we had interviewed everyone in the U.S. Some studies collect data from people at their workplace or from students at their schools. Other studies stop people while they're out shopping or call them on the telephone. On the NHSDA, we collect data by visiting people at their homes. That's why it's called a household survey. Survey means asking questions. Survey research relies on respondents answering questions about a particular topic. Survey researchers rely on respondents to give honest, accurate answers to the questions we ask. If they don't, the data we collect won't be very helpful. Part of our job as survey researchers is to make the respondents as comfortable as possible with the questions that we ask so that they will give honest answers. That's very relevant with the NHSDA because some of the topics we're asking about are sensitive. The rate of drug use by Americans has been of tremendous importance for a number of years. By tracking how often Americans use and abuse various types of tobacco products, alcohol, prescription drugs, and illegal substances, researchers and analysts can tell what effect the so-called war on drugs has had.
We're looking at a statistically significant overall numbers.
The data from the NHSDA are critically important in setting public health policies. Questions during the interview ask about the person's use of a number of substances, including tobacco, alcohol, prescription drugs for non-medicinal use, and illegal drugs. If a respondent reports use of a substance, additional questions determine the specifics, such as how often, how much, and how recent. Several questions in the survey gather information about the use of a variety of tobacco products, including specific questions about various brands. Interview questions also obtain respondents' opinions on certain practices and behaviors.
When I first accepted this interviewing job with NHSDA, I was very worried about the subject matter. I mean, how were people going to respond to me when I started asking them questions about drugs? Well, during the training, I began to realize just how well the survey is set up to protect the privacy of the respondent, and how very important this information is for government policymakers. As for the reactions, well, most people are concerned about the problem and are willing to contribute time and information that may help to solve the problem. For those people that do heavy drugs, well, they're certainly interested in the subject, and they're curious about the interview.
On a national level, over 80% of the individuals contacted for the study agree to participate in the survey, whether or not they use tobacco, alcohol, or other substances. NHSDA is a very important, highly visible survey.
These areas will in the end have an impact, but it's not going to be a quick impact.
Politicians and researchers often quote the results, stating how use of particular drugs has changed over time. Attitudes representing all Americans are also gathered, as are detailed opinions and behaviors of youth respondents. In the early years of NHSDA, data was collected once a year. That information was helpful, but more current data was needed. Now, we divide the total yearly number of interviews into 4 parts and complete 1/4 of the cases each calendar quarter, so that 1/4 of the interviews are completed in January, February, and March. Data collection continues in April with a fresh set of cases for the 2nd quarter, and so on through the year. This design also helps analysts determine if substance use varies between the different quarters. As you can guess, the study has continued to change and evolve as the needs of SAMHSA, the client, and the other users of the data have changed. Additional topics and questions have been added, while others were deleted. Procedures have been altered to increase efficiency, decrease costs, and maximize the quality of these important data.
It's tough to explain just what survey researchers do. Working on the NHSDA has made that easier for me. I mentioned the name of the study and that it provides the information frequently quoted in the news, such as cocaine use went down 2%. The usual reaction is, wow, you do important work. And I really do. I take great pride in that.
With the high interest in statistics and information on substance abuse and the effective programs implemented to combat the issue, researchers have found that having current national estimates of use is good, but it would be even better if they could have more accurate information for specific areas. To address this issue, the NHSDA has switched to a sample design which thoroughly covers each of the 50 states and the District of Columbia. In addition to the national estimates, the data will also provide estimates on drug use and abuse for each state. Each state is divided into a certain number of interviewer regions. Within these regions, specific land areas called segments are selected. Within each segment, a lister travels the entire area and writes down or lists all the dwelling units in the segment. From this list, a computer program selects specific sample dwelling units, or SDUs, to be contacted for the study. Field interviewers are assigned those specific SDUs to contact about the study. Using the maps, FIs locate and then visit the resident of each SDU, asking them to please answer a few questions. Informative materials such as detailed question and answer brochures are available to assist FIs in answering the questions of any curious respondents. Interviewers record data about each household member 12 years or older on a roster, and then check the final selection steps to see if anyone in the SDU is chosen for the NHSDA interview. This rostering and final selection process is called screening. Instead of the large paper screening forms used in the past, interviewers are now using leading-edge technology to conduct the screening, using this small, lightweight handheld computer called the Newton. In spite of its size, it's a powerful computer. Users have a special pen to enter all of the screening information for a particular household into the Newton. It then automatically determines whether anyone living there is eligible to complete the actual NHSDA interview. Let's look now at an explanation of the process to conduct an NHSDA interview. Since RTI first started conducting the NHSDA in 1988, it has been a paper and pencil study. That means that all of the questions were printed on paper, some in a questionnaire booklet. These questions were read out loud by the interviewer to the respondent. When the respondent gave his or her answer to the question, the interviewer recorded the answer in the questionnaire booklet. The more sensitive questions, like those about the respondent's use of or knowledge about various drugs, were printed on individual answer sheets. The respondent filled out each answer sheet on his or her own and placed each completed sheet along with the completed questionnaire booklet in an envelope that was sealed at the end of the interview. This method of having the respondent complete the sensitive questions on his or her own rather than having to tell their answers out loud to the interviewer is thought to increase the likelihood that the respondent will give honest answers. At the end of the interview, the completed paper materials were mailed to RTI for numerous data editing and data entry operations. For 1999, we will conduct about 20,000 interviews using this traditional method of paper questionnaires and answer sheets. Not all interviewers will have to use paper, as most of the interviews for 1999, about 70,000, will be conducted using computers. You can imagine all the work spent converting the respondents' handwritten answers into data the computers can analyze. Due to the increasing power and decreasing size and weight of portable laptop computers, like this one, we can automate the entire process. Now, NHSDA is conducted using CAI, computer-assisted interviewing. Interviewers conduct the interview by asking the question that appears on the screen and entering the response into the computer. The computer program checks to be sure the response is valid and consistent, then displays the next appropriate question. For the self-administered answer sheet portion of the interview, the respondent listens to the questions through headphones and enters the answers directly into the computer by him or herself.
10. Press 10.
This ability to record and play back the questions through the computer so that a respondent can provide his or her own answers is called ACASI, which stands for Audio Computer Assisted Self-Interviewing. It is an exciting breakthrough in survey research, for it utilizes state-of-the-art computer technology to maximize the privacy with which a respondent can provide answers to sensitive survey questions. The conversion to using laptop computers has been a continual growth process. A small-scale test a few years ago proved it was feasible. A large-scale test then tested additional issues that may affect the quality and consistency of the data between paper and computer collection methods. Brian Burke is the National Field Director for the NHSDA.
Due in large part to the computer conversion and the expanded 50-state design, provide state-level statistics. SAMHSA has contracted with RTI to conduct the NHSDA for 5 years through 2003. A 5-year contract can be very advantageous as it allows consistency of employment of both RTI staff and the field staff. If you are hired as an interviewer for the NHSDA and all goes well, you will likely have work through 2003. Such continuity can be a real bonus in the sometimes unpredictable world of survey research.
So what duties would you be performing during this time? Let's examine the main duties of an RTI field interviewer or FI. Complete a home study package before attending a regional training session. Attend a regional training session during which you will learn and practice all the details, and there are many details, to complete the work. Organize the materials supplied by RTI and send introductory letters to the selected households. Locate all SDUs using the maps provided and contact all SDUs in person to complete screening with an adult resident of the household. Complete in-person interviews with selected respondents. Follow procedures precisely to gather data of the highest possible quality. Transmit the gathered data each evening you work by connecting your Newton and laptop computer to your telephone line so the data can be processed by the RTI computer. Maintain and submit accurate records of your activities.
Hold on just a minute.
Conference by telephone at least once each week with your supervisor.
Yeah,
Keep him or
let's
her
see.
informed of any problems you are experiencing. Submit all other reports, such as time and expense reports, on time. Control costs by being efficient and practical. In all activities and contact with staff and potential respondents, be positive, objective, understanding, and professional. Does it sound overwhelming? Well, it can be a little at the beginning. But RTI, in all its years of experience, has developed manuals and training programs to help staff learn the exact requirements of their jobs. Many of our field staff on the NHSDA have been in that role for years. Interviewers are hired on a yearly basis to complete the project for a given calendar year, working usually between 20 and 25 hours per week. The vast majority of these hours are worked during late afternoons and early evenings and on weekends, as those are the times when residents of the sample households are most likely to be home. While these are the duties, what sorts of qualities make an individual perform well as an interviewer? Well, usually good FIs are people-oriented, self-motivated, reasonably well-organized, and detail-oriented. They have a good sense of direction so that they can locate the sample dwelling units. Interviewers like the flexibility that comes along with setting their own evening and weekend hours and the independence of working on their own.
Battery Park, Maynard Road. My family needed a little extra income, but I couldn't stand the thought of working all day in an office. So I started as an interviewer, and I just love it. The flexibility is great for my family, and the additional money has really helped. Sometimes I do feel a little isolated. Other interviewers are spread all over the country. If need be, though, I can always contact my supervisor for whatever assistance I need, and just over the phone instead of down an office hallway.
Should you become an NHSDA FI, what can you expect from RTI? Support might be the best way to sum it up. We will always be available to you to assist you in any way possible to help you do your job well. Need more supplies? Just let us know and they're on their way to you. Have a tricky problem? Just ask and we'll track down the answer or help decide on the best resolution. Concerned about entering a difficult neighborhood? Call your supervisor to discuss approval to obtain an escort, as we care about your safety. Support also means recognition for a job well done. We have in place a bonus system that recognizes and rewards interviewers and supervisors who meet the goals established for the different areas. We call our system the TEAM concept, where TEAM stands for Together Everyone Achieves More. These specific bonuses in our TEAM concept have successfully encouraged the field staff on NHSDA for the past few years with measurable, achievable goals for response rates, data quality, timeliness, and cost effectiveness.
With a 5-year contract, interviewers who perform well will receive increases to their hourly rates and have the potential to step up into supervisory roles. This is more than just a short-term interviewing job. It can be a career path. While you can expect support from RTI, what does RTI expect from you? Dedication, availability, commitment, emphasis on quality, follow through on assignments in a professional manner, sound interpersonal skills and communications with respondents and your supervisor. Perfection? Well, no, we can't actually expect that. Additional details on the job of the field interviewer are given in the position descriptions that were included in this packet. Reading these now will give you an even better sense of what you're agreeing to do should you be offered and accept the NHSDA FI position.
We hope that this video has been informative for you. If you wish, rewind it and watch it again, making notes of questions to ask during the interview process. At this point, follow the instructions given in the letter sent with this video, which will guide you in the next step. Thanks for your attention, and good luck. For additional information on Research Triangle Institute, keep watching to see the next segment entitled Beyond the Boundaries.
Apartheid has now truly ended, and it is a new day in South Africa. But there is much work to be done. And Research Triangle Institute is there, helping to free an educational system still shackled by the past. North Carolina's Outer Banks and the Albemarle and Pamlico Sounds behind them have withstood millennia of battering storms. But can they survive the state's population boom and the pollution that has accompanied it? The Albemarle and Pamlico have a better chance to weather that storm too, now that Research Triangle Institute is developing tools to protect the upstream watersheds and preserve these vital estuaries. In February 1945, Allied bombing set off a firestorm in the city of Dresden, and the 2-centuries-old landmark Church of Our Lady was among the treasures lost forever. Or was it? A virtual reality model created by RTI engineers is part of an effort to fully restore this architectural wonder. In hundreds of projects around the world, Research Triangle Institute people are opening new doors and going beyond the boundaries. Our mission statement says that Research Triangle Institute is dedicated to improving the human condition through research, development, and technical services, and that each of us will meet the highest standards of professional performance. But how is that mission translated into action? How does an idea in a researcher's mind become a new cancer drug? safer airline travel, or a solid foundation for good public policy. That process, from intuition to application, is the business of RTI. To truly improve the human condition, our efforts cannot be confined within a single laboratory or limited to a single discipline. Instead, we share our ideas and talents within teams, crossing the intellectual, physical, and political boundaries that hold others back. In the 1950s, the desire to go beyond regional and economic boundaries gave the Institute its start. There was no research triangle then, just 3 separate towns in an area dependent on low-wage agriculture and manufacturing jobs. But each town was home to a major university, and in 1958, representatives of Duke, the University of North Carolina, and North Carolina State were united by a vision for a research and industrial park on 6,000 acres of undeveloped land on the border between Wake and Durham counties. Business and government leaders were instrumental in bringing the universities together. Research Triangle Park was a bold idea, but to take shape, it needed a cornerstone. Research Triangle Institute was conceived as that crucial first building block, an independent enterprise that could attract research and development contracts and put the Research Triangle on the national map. Officially, the 3 universities created the nonprofit Research Triangle Institute on December 29, 1958. They still figure very largely in the work and direction of the Institute. The Institute would occupy 160 acres in the center of Research Triangle Park. The first building completed on campus was Haynes, first occupied in 1962. By 1967, 5 buildings had been completed, including the Dreyfus Laboratory and Ragland. In the 1960s, RTI's expertise in statistics and survey research was applied to education issues and the war on poverty. Meanwhile, chemists were discovering new polymer materials and new pharmaceuticals. The Institute's reputation for scientific excellence was already becoming well established. The 1970s were an era of environmental awareness, and RTI participated in a variety of areas, ranging from refining pollutant measurement methods to economic projections of the costs and benefits of pollution controls. In the 1980s, semiconductor research became an expanding source of contracts, and wide-ranging projects were undertaken in drug abuse and biomedicine. During those decades, RTI got many new neighbors. IBM in 1966, EPA in 1971, Northern Telecom in 1980, and Glaxo in 1983 were among the companies changing the fields into offices, data centers, and manufacturing plants. Today, Research Triangle Park is the world's largest planned research park, with more than 70 organizations employing 34,000 people. It is the economic engine for a region whose quality of life is second to none. And the scientific vision of the Research Triangle Institute has been a vital ingredient in the formula for success. RTI's growth has paced that of the park. Today, the main campus has more than 500,000 square feet of laboratories and offices. The latest addition, the Medicinal Chemistry Laboratory, was completed in 1993. At the main campus and other facilities in the RTP area, and offices in Washington, D.C., Rockville, Maryland, Cocoa Beach, Florida, and Hampton, Virginia, RTI employs more than 1,400 technical and administrative staff. At any given time, there are hundreds of active projects under contract, representing an annual revenue of well over $100 million. Our many clients value our scientific excellence. We successfully compete for their work against other nonprofits, the private sector, and top universities. RTI receives no financial subsidies. Our success depends on doing a better job for our clients. The federal government accounts for most of our revenue, and the list of our government clients is long and varied. Thanks to that diversity, we've been able to adapt as changing times and administrations have shaped and then reshaped our national research priorities. Over time, and quite by design, Research Triangle Institute has grown to excel in a range of widely diverse disciplines. Our staff members hold degrees in 115 different academic specialties. Because of our breadth of expertise, RTI assembles multidisciplinary teams that few other organizations can match. Breaking the boundaries between groups brings new perspectives and helps us develop innovative solutions. RTI fulfills its mission in 5 research priorities. In public health, the Institute works on assessment, prevention, and intervention in important issues such as smoking, diabetes, drug abuse, and HIV. We've been a leader in drug abuse research for 30 years, combining our expertise in biochemistry, the social sciences, and statistics to seek out the facts pertaining to this growing public health problem. Since 1988, annual surveys of more than 22,000 people have served as a reliable barometer of the nation's drug problem, and these results have often been cited by political leaders and the media. Research into the effectiveness of drug abuse treatment is a related public health program.
I've been involved in drug abuse treatment research for a number of years now at RTI. One of the reasons for our success in this area has been the high standards of scientific rigor that we employ in carrying out our work. This enables us to have enormous staying power over a variety of changing political circumstances and changing presidential administrations. Over the years, we've conducted research on thousands of clients entering hundreds of drug abuse treatment programs across the country. We've learned a great deal about what works in drug abuse treatment for particular kinds of individuals. We believe that we've made enormous impact, not only on public policy decisions and clinical practice, but we feel we've contributed to the solution of this very difficult public health problem. It's very satisfying to be involved in this kind of work.
RTI is involved in medical research, from basic studies of human health to the discovery and testing of new drugs, to the invention of medical devices. Molecular modeling leads to new drug discoveries, and RTI's life sciences labs test their effects. Based on this research, the Institute licenses new compounds for medical use every year. Beginning in 1960, RTI chemists have searched for plant extracts that are active against cancer. One of their discoveries, Taxol, was approved by the FDA in 1992 for the treatment of ovarian and breast cancers. Synthetic forms of a second plant extract, camtothecin, are emerging from labs across the country. Dr. Monroe E. Wall and Dr. Mansukh C. Wani have headed RTI's natural products research for over 30 years.
Taxol was discovered by us at the Research Triangle Institute in 1971. Since its discovery, scientists all over the world have been exploring the potential of Taxol as an anti-cancer agent. We were extremely happy and proud to learn that Taxol was approved by the FDA for clinical use in 1992.
There are no geographic boundaries to the Institute's work. On 4 continents, RTI helps growing nations cope with the struggles of development and social upheaval. Economists, statisticians, sociologists, an education specialist all contribute to finding solutions to these worldwide social problems. A major boundary was broken when racial apartheid ended in South Africa. But to create true equality of opportunity, the entire school system must be recast. RTI is working in South Africa to promote dialogue and provide the necessary tools to create an integrated public school system.
RTI's involvement in South Africa started in 1990 when the African National Congress asked us to come in, help them put forth some information-based, analytically based policy options for a new educational dispensation. Working with them and the larger democratic opposition for about 5 years, we helped initiate and facilitate an ongoing nationwide dialogue, which in the end led to the South African Schools Act, New Qualifications Framework, and a number of other policy frameworks. We were fortunate that in 1997 we won the SABRE project, which is an opportunity for us to implement the policies that we helped put in place, and will allow us also to put in place the structures and mechanisms and systems that are necessary to ensure a sustained reform effort well beyond the life of the project. We're particularly happy about this project because it allows us to usher South Africa across the thin ice that will allow it to become the economic engine of the entire continent.
In 1959, RTI's very first project was a health survey for the National Air Pollution Control Administration. And Institute scientists have been pioneers in environmental research ever since. Today, we're involved in clean coal technology, environmental measurements, indoor air quality, alternative solvents and risk assessment programs for clients at EPA and in private industry. Close to home, an RTI team has created a database that catalogs such factors as land use, soil type, and precipitation in 15 watersheds that drain into the Albemarle and Pamlico Sounds. Using their geographic information system, they can predict the amounts and sources of pollution that affect these vital estuaries.
We provide a tool for other centers here at RTI. An example is for the North Carolina Division of Coastal Management, where we worked with water quality people in the Center for Environmental Analysis to determine the potential impacts and model the impacts of development along the coast of North Carolina, and this is something important to the state. It's very helpful to be able to take raw data given to us and load it into a spatial database so that it can be visualized in a way that many policy people haven't seen before. They can see their data in a new way. It's eye-opening to many people to see their data turned into a map, and that really helps them to understand what they have.
Research Triangle Institute is taking technology beyond the boundaries for private sector clients. Our projects in semiconductor research, energy, and aerospace focus on the commercial application of innovative technology. Under contract to IBM Germany, our virtual reality lab has created a three-dimensional walkthrough of an 18th century church destroyed in the firebombing of Dresden. This was one of the most complex virtual reality models ever put into practical use. In a program for the National Guard, virtual reality is being used to train tank mechanics.
RTI was chosen for this program because we can bring the tank to our client through the use of virtual reality. We have developed a multidisciplinary approach to VR. For the National Guard, we've combined training and development, which is my area of expertise, with our engineers' unique knowledge of VR. We feel that this combination has unlimited potential for training applications.
When you listen to the staff of Research Triangle Institute, certain themes are obvious. Pride in our work, commitment to excellence, and dedication to solving problems for our clients. That is how we've built our reputation and why we're successful in a highly competitive world. While our facilities and equipment are important, our real strength is the people of RTI. Thanks to their talent and hard work, our future is bright.